Welcome to Orion times Sherif, AI Strategy and Foresight. I'm Orion Vale. Today we're breaking down Anthropic's triple play, a week that changed everything. First, the Pentagon blacklisted them as a supply chain risk. Then, they launched an enterprise marketplace. And in between, they released groundbreaking research showing 75% of programmer tasks are now covered by AI. Lose a government contract, gain 1 million new users per day, and reveal the future of work. All in 1 week. Let's dive in. Picture this. The Pentagon officially blacklists an American AI company last Thursday, calling it a supply chain risk for refusing military uses. And exactly 1 week later, that same company launches a marketplace to sell enterprise AI tools. Anthropic just did exactly that with their Claude marketplace. Wild timing or strategic genius?
Wow. You know what's fascinating? This is the exact moment I've been talking about for months, when AI ethics stops being a philosophy seminar and becomes a billion-dollar business decision. Anthropic drew 2 red lines. No fully autonomous weapons, no mass surveillance of Americans. The Pentagon said, we need all lawful purposes. And boom, first American company ever labeled a supply chain risk.
But here's what's really interesting. Enterprises can use their existing Anthropic spending commitments to buy these third-party tools. So while the Pentagon is pushing them out, they're doubling down on enterprise lock-in. Smart or desperate?
Smart. Look, I've seen how enterprise procurement works at major cloud providers. Legal teams at several CSPs studied this designation and concluded Claude can remain available to all customers except the Department of Defense. The enterprise market is still there, and frankly, some CIOs might prefer a vendor that says no to certain government uses.
That's a fascinating point about trust. But Sherif, we also got some sobering data this week. Anthropic's own research shows computer programmers have 75% task coverage by AI, the highest of any occupation. That's not theoretical anymore. That's happening right now.
Exactly. And you know what's wild? Customer service representatives are at 67% coverage. The 2 jobs where we're seeing the most AI adoption are also where we're seeing the biggest business impact. But here's the thing. While theoretical models suggested 94% of computer and math tasks could be automated, actual Claude usage only covers about 33%. There's still a massive gap between could and is.
Yeah, but that gap is closing fast, isn't it? When I see Anthropic partnering with GitLab, Snowflake, Harvey for legal work, Replit for development, these aren't toy applications. These are enterprise-grade tools handling real business workflows.
Absolutely. And the marketplace timing makes perfect sense now. Think about it. Anthropic is waiving commission fees entirely, something major CSPs would never do. They're essentially paying enterprises to deepen their relationship with Claude instead of diversifying to other AI providers. It's classic platform strategy.
Right. But here's my question. Is this the moment when AI ethics becomes a luxury only market leaders can afford? OpenAI rushed to fill that Pentagon void with all lawful purposes language, while Anthropic is betting that enterprise customers will pay premium for principled AI.
You know, that's the trillion-dollar question. OpenAI's president just donated $25 million to Trump's super PAC. They're playing a very different game. But I think Anthropic might be onto something. When I was dealing with Fortune 500 procurement, compliance and ethical sourcing were huge decision factors. They gained 1 million new users per day this week during this Pentagon controversy.
Oh, wow. So consumers are actually rewarding the principled stance even as the government punishes it. But looking at that 75% programmer coverage data, how do you think enterprise leaders should be planning for this? Because that's not a distant future scenario anymore.
Here's what I learned from watching cloud transformation. The companies that got ahead of it early, that started rethinking their entire operating model, those are the ones that won. The data shows employment in AI-exposed sectors is trailing the economy, but wages in those sectors are rising 16.7% versus 7.5% nationally. It's not mass layoffs. It's a fundamental shift in what human expertise is worth.
So we're seeing the birth of a 2-tier system. Premium human expertise commands higher wages, but entry-level roles are increasingly automated?
Exactly. And that brings us back to Anthropic's bet. They're saying, we'll help you navigate this transformation responsibly. Every time a customer uses a partner's Claude-powered tool through the marketplace, they're deepening their relationship with Anthropic rather than just a software vendor. It's brilliant. They're becoming the trusted AI infrastructure layer for enterprises that care about ethical deployment.
Which could be worth more than any Pentagon contract in the long run. The real question is whether this creates sustainable competitive advantage or if ethics becomes commoditized as the market matures.
That's the test, isn't it? Right now, critics are calling this Pentagon designation unprecedented, treating domestic innovators worse than foreign adversaries. But if Anthropic can prove that principled AI development actually drives better business outcomes, better enterprise adoption, better regulatory relationships, better talent retention, then they've found something much more valuable than any single government contract.
Brilliant insights today, Sherif. This Anthropic triple play really shows us how AI ethics, enterprise strategy, and labor transformation are all colliding in real time. Thanks for listening to Orion times Sherif. Until next time.